If you want to sponsor your relatives or friends to USA, then there are a number of documents that you have to provide. We will discuss today. Documents need to be sent from the person who is sponsoring his/her relatives or anyone else such as friends to visit the United States. Kindly send these documents to the person whom you are sponsoring. Do not send it to the U.S. Embassy or Consulate. Send completed and legible documents. Wherever possible, send computer printed or typed documents to avoid any confusion. Also, please try to send the most current documents. Any documents like an employment letter, pay stubs, bank letter, etc. must be less than 6 months old. If you are sponsoring multiple people at the same time, such as both of your parents, you should send separate 134 forms for each person. You can just send one set of supporting documents for both of them. Hashtag Form 134 Affidavit of Support Form. You will need to show that you can financially support your relatives while they are in the U.S. You need to fill a form called Affidavit of Support Form, A-134. For that purpose, one form should be filled for each applicant. So, even though your parents are applying together, you need to send 2 forms. Some consulates say that if you are applying for a family, such as parents, in-laws, etc., you have to submit only one A-134 and not for each person. There is no harm in providing one for everyone, instead of taking chances. You do not need to get your Form 134 notarized. Hashtag Employment Letter. Statement from your employer. One original for each applicant. On business letterhead showing asterisk date and nature of your employment. Asterisk designation. Asterisk location. Asterisk salary paid. Asterisk whether a position is temporary or permanent. Hashtag salary slips. Recent salary slips. 3 or 6 latest salary slips should be enough. Hashtag bank letter. Letter from your bank in USA, one original for each applicant. On the bank letterhead, giving the details. Asterisk date bank account opened. Asterisk total amount deposited for the past year. Asterisk current balance. Asterisk average balance last year. It's okay for the letter to be addressed to whom it may concern. Some banks may take a long time to provide such a letter, so it is advisable to apply well in advance. Hashtag bank statements. Send the bank statements for the last 6 months. It should have a good balance at least for the last 6 months. Do not deposit money into your bank account the day before to show a big balance, only to withdraw it the next day. You really should have money to show your financial strength to be able to support the people you are sponsoring. While there is no specific guideline to how much money you should have in the bank, it should be enough to take care of all the expenses of the visa applicants. Around $5,000 per person should be good enough. Check the updated amount with the embassy you are applying your visa. Hashtag letter to the consulate. Write a letter from yourself to USA Embassy or Consulate stating that you will take care of the visa applicant's expenses in the USA. This letter should be addressed to the U.S. Consulate your relatives will be visiting. Hashtag invitation letter. A personal letter of invitation, formal letter that explain how you will be able to accommodate them in your house and take them around for tourist purposes. One letter should be enough for both of your parents. If your relatives don't understand English, it may be helpful to send the translation of the letter in your native language, because the consular officer may question that your parents might have never read the letter. Hashtag income tax documents. Copy of the last 3 years of income tax returns and W-2s. If you don't have them, you can request the transcripts from the IRS. Don't include state income tax returns. If you have not been in the U.S. for the last 3 years, send the tax returns for the years that you do have. If you did not file a tax return, a written explanation describing why you had no legal duty to file the return is needed. If you filed a late or amended tax return, you should submit evidence of this. If you are self-employed, include self-employment schedules filed with income tax returns or financial records, such as a bank statement for the business accounts. Hashtag identification, relationship and legal status documents. Asterisk if you are a non-U.S. citizen, your original birth certificate. If you are sponsoring your in-laws, your spouse's original birth certificate is required. A photocopy of all pages, including blank pages, of your passport. If the U.S. visa is in your old passport, then a photocopy of all pages of the old and new passport is required. Asterisk proof of legal status. If you are on an H1 or L1, a copy of the latest H1/L1 visa approval notice, I-797 notice of action. If you are at an adjustment of status, I-485 stage, send copies of the I-485 receipt, EAD card and advance parole. These may not be required, but it does not hurt to send them. If your U.S. visa has expired, but has a renewed petition, photocopy of the renewed petition. If your U.S. visa status such as HL has expired, and your employer has filed for an extension, send the I-797 receipt. Notice: if you are a legal permanent resident in the USA, provide proof of green card front and back. Asterisk: if you are a U.S. citizen, provide proof of U.S. citizenship. Hashtag legal status of siblings. If the parents have more than one child in the U.S., send the proof of legal status of all the children, in addition to all of the documents described above from the sponsored child. Hashtag spouse documents. If you are sponsoring your spouse's relatives, such as in-laws, photocopies of all pages, including blank pages, of your spouse's passport and your marriage certificate. That's all in this video. Thank you for watching it, and I hope this information will be helpful to get USA visa.